there. Thanks for staying put with Enterprise TV, where we hold the tradition of truth. It's your usual program, the Middlemen of Jurors, where we dissect the uncomfortable truths, amplify the voices you don't hear enough of, and put the powerful where they belong, right under the spotlight. This is not just another talk show, it's a courtroom of conscience, and today we are holding the system accountable one case at a time. My jurors and I are here with our groundbreaking cases. Our esteemed juror from Rabbi will be presenting a case titled The Paradox of Happiness. Juror Henry Igwebuike would be looking into the life of one of the nation's patriarchs in his case titled Gowon, Villain or Hero. Juror Emeka Madunagu is here with a case titled Nigeria, a country of forced errors. And I, Juror Innocent Adulugba, will be asking a question. My case is titled, Are Armed Forest Guards the Panacea to Terrorists or Insecurity in Nigeria? All of these cases and more are coming your way right on the other side of this break. Please stay with us. Welcome back. My case. Are armed forest guards the panacea to terrorist or insecurity in Nigeria? Recently, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has approved the establishment of forest guards and commencement of their employment to secure the 1,129 forests in Nigeria. The president has directed that the forest guards are to be well trained and armed to perform their duties, which is essentially to flush out terrorists and criminal gangs hiding inside the forest for criminal activities. The recruitment is a security collaborative effort between the federal and state governments. I am concerned, and my worry is that this may fail from the beginning if trained and armed guards are posted interstate. Perhaps because of trust deficits and the primacy of Fulani headsmen as the largest suspects, each state should recruit only their indigents to protect their people and their forests. Again, are drones scarce or underutilized in every local government area in Nigeria? Drone surveillance offers numerous benefits, including real-time monitoring, cost effectiveness, enhanced safety, and improved situational awareness. Only recently, there is a viral video of Nigerian soldiers being tortured and killed blatantly by the bandits. So, are there no drones to recce the bandits' hideouts? Why are Nigerians, celebrated army across West Africa and the world, playing catch-up for nearly 15 years in our own country? My verdict, please, Nigerian government should halt every terrorism and insurgency at once. With all sincerity, we have the capacity. The unsightly and gory pictures and videos are an insult to our collective sensibilities. Gentlemen.
Well, very well. This is a very important case, given that it's a case that strikes the chord of our corporate existence. I mean, forest guards, okay, the way we're having the formation is really going to work based on your case. Like you suggested, it would have been better that we have it state by state, right? People will be able to guard their own forests and their own people because of the deficit of trust that we have. That if you make it a national issue, what I mean national issue is if you want to make it, because we like to federalize things. Yes, we federalize, centralize things, and at the end of the day, we fail in the way we go about it. Meanwhile, we have a state approach, a regional approach, where every community they know the bad guys, they know the good ones, they know people who are the strangers and all that. So from security formation, we can actually make use of, just like they say, police is local. I think security is also local.
It is.
Yes. So let people in their respective community, the federal government should deploy these resources across this community, provide enough incentive, and let the communal people manage and guard their own communal space. That's what I think the solution is. But because we like to federalize things and then we like to also nepotize it, before you know that nepotism will come in, the people who will be recruited will now be, senators will now be bringing slots. And then I say, my slot, this one slot, that one slot. On security matter. So we must, I don't know when the federal government will learn. Okay, I don't know when, but it's unfortunate that they come up with good policy, they come up with good ideas, but at the end of the day, they will now hang it on the altar of federalization, centralization. And at the end of the day, it will not trickle down to really address the main issue it is conceived to address. Then before you know it, those who are supposed to be protecting the people will turn against them, like the police we have today. There's no policeman on the street today that is out there to protect any citizen. As we speak now, Nigeria currently, none of them is out there to protect any citizen. They are out every day for their daily bread. Is that how to run a country? Is that how to police a society with this kind of population? Not just an ordinary population, hungry population. So, I mean, we need to do better.
Yes, yes. I think this is another proliferation of security agency yet again. The NSCDC was actually set up for this kind of issue.
Yes.
Ensure that our community is totally safeguarded. Ensure that you know, all the rubricals and places where the police force cannot get to, the NSCDC are supposed to be there. They're like the neighborhood watch, always there in our forests, in our streets, the communities, black spots,
pipeline,
you know, pipeline and all that. Bring in intelligence, feed them to the police, and it can be shared, you know, along so that they can all come together and solve the problem. But because we have woefully failed from every security agency, from the Nigerian police to the army to the DSS to the, every single one of them have failed. So we keep thinking that proliferation of agencies every other day is the solution, but obviously it is not. Before you know what would happen now, these same forest guards will start guarding the chiefs and the kings of the communities that they were supposed to even protect in the first place. You know, I would love to believe state governments on their own have done as much as they could with the allowing adoption of vigilantes to take care of these things, and some vigilantes have been doing awesomely well, like the one in Edo State. After the Uromi, you know, kicking in and all, you know, what did what was the name, Obebelo do? He wanted to disband the vigilante, and up until today, some of them are still complaining that he's the way he's going about them is not very good enough, and all. So the question now is, with these forest guard people and the vigilante and the Nigerian police, won't it be a conflict of interest at the end of the day? So why not let's go back to what it used to be before? Ensure that our Nigerian police force do the work of policing, because if they do the work of policing, then things would get better. In my community where I come from, we only just have one police post. Before all of this IPOB and ESN thing, in that particular community, everyone respected that police post. Every single person respected that police post, because if anyone commits a crime, he knows and he is very sure that that one single police post, may be manned by just 4 policemen, were able to safeguard a community of over 800 people. But because they have watered down their value, their symbolic value that they have, nobody considers them any longer. In my community now, we have people who call Omoma, okay, safeguarding our forest. But of course, they are in loggerhead with the security. So every single weekend, the army go there to make bombardment, a retaliation of one thing or another is always ripped all over the place. So I think this is another proliferation and wastefulness of resources that should have gone to the Nigerian police force.
Yeah, but we have forest guards now.
They have been there for decades now, for so many years. So what forest gas is the president talking about? And I think the land user at vests, trusteeship of lands in Nigeria in the governors. So what is the business of the federal government with the forests, except those places where mining is taking place? I think the clamor should be more of restructuring. Let's restructure this federation. Hand over all those resources to the states. Then let states work out arrangements for securing them. You see, this over-centralization and over-dependence on Abuja is what is really keeping this country, in the throes, in the doldrums of poverty, and what is making us unable to actualize our fullest benefits. You can imagine how many people will leave Lagos and go back to their states, get jobs in security and others, if you restructure this federation. That's, for me, is a better way to look at it than to talk about federal police. You are still over-centralizing the federation. We should restructure this federation. It is just getting so annoying. Now the North has agreed for state police. Let's see. Let's hope that the National Assembly will pass the state police bill into law so that we can start from there.
Okay, much said about it. The debate continues. My take is you don't transfer somebody from Owerri, this federal guy, to go and be working in Akure. Let it be localized and avoid over-centralization. As we go on this break, to return, Juror Evans will be telling us or educating us on the paradox of happiness. Sounds interesting, doesn't it? Please stay with us.
Welcome back to the Middlemen of Jurors. Thank you for staying tuned. My case, the paradox of happiness. The hedonic treadmill is a fascinating psychological concept that reveals a paradox inherent in our pursuit of happiness. No matter how much we strive for joy through achievement, possessions, or experiences, we often return to a baseline level of happiness. This phenomenon suggests that major life events, whether positive, like landing a dream job, winning a lottery, or negative, such as experience a significant loss, have a limited and temporary impact on our overall sense of happiness. Over time, individuals adapt to both their joys and their sorrows, often leading to the conclusion that the pursuit of happiness, if seen as a destination, may be a futile endeavor. Reflecting on the implication of this concept, it becomes evident to me that chasing happiness as a primary life goal can lead to a frustrating circle of striving without fulfillment. When we constantly pursue happiness, we may find ourselves in an endless loop, setting new goals, dreaming of the future achievements or accomplishments, and believing that once we achieve these milestones, we will finally feel fulfilled. Yet, when we achieve our goals, the joy is often fleeting. The anticipation, excitement, and satisfaction of winning a major award or reaching a personal milestone quickly gives way to a return to our baseline happiness level. This can lead to feelings of emptiness as we start to seek out the next big thing to chase after. The irony of this pursuit is that the more we chase happiness, the more it ends to elude us. We may become exhausted by this never-ending race, feeling as though our lives are revolving around the next big achievement rather than the moment that truly matter. This exhaustive chase can divert our focus from enjoying the richness of daily life, the simple pleasures, the cherished memories, and the subtle nuances of human relationship. When happiness becomes the goal, life can feel like a relentless sprint with no finish line. However, there is a different approach we can take, a shift from chasing happiness to embracing life as it unfolds. When we learn to relax and appreciate the present moment, acknowledging the good, the bad, and the ugly, we often find out that happiness is not a distant, elusive target, but a state that can exist alongside our experiences. By letting go of the relentless pursuit and choosing instead to savor each moment, we cultivate a deeper sense of fulfillment. Think about the everyday moment that brings joy, sharing a meal with a loved one, taking a walk in nature, or simply enjoying a quiet moment with a good book. These instances may seem mundane, but can infuse our lives with genuine happiness when we allow ourselves to be fully present. Embracing the entirety of our experience, both the high and the lows, teaches us resilience and gratitude, enriching our lives with ways that the pursuit of constant pleasure never could. Moreover, being present allows us to cherish the journey rather than fixate on the destination. It inspires an appreciation for our unique narratives, which are often composed of failures, pains, joy, and learning. When we acknowledge that every experience is part of a larger tapestry of life, we can let go of the need for everything to be perfect and instead find value in the messiness of existence. My verdict: the hedonic treadmill challenges us to reconsider our approach to happiness. Rather than chasing it, we can cultivate a mindset that celebrates the present moment, accepting life's up and down. By doing so, we may find that happiness is not a fleeting achievement, but a steady companion throughout our journey, enriching our lives in meaningful ways. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Well, this is a beautiful, beautiful look at what life really means. If life was all about money, if happiness was all about money, then the rich, there wouldn't be the need to say the rich also cry. I know of a family, billionaire family in Nigeria today. The father and his children are in court, fighting over the company their father founded. Company made billions into oil and gas and all that, but they are fighting in court today. I mean, this is a family that people will envy. I wish my father was as rich as this. But would anybody wish to be in court with his father, fighting for family's property? So, and there are cases like that here and there. Is it the poor? Does poverty give happiness? Then you just find out all of these things are just fleeting, like the narration has, stated. So that means there is something deeper we should attain, we should strive for, beyond just happiness, maybe coming from having a cold beer or, a fleeting achievement, I think it really x-rays a lot about what happiness is. Well, the conversation continues.
Okay, well, life. I watched a movie and I was surprised. The young couple in love, and they told each other, "Let's make memories." I've never heard of that before. I thought memories when something happens, you stay where you are and think back. So, but it dawned on me that it is what you make joyful now. You can remember happily after.
Yeah, never after.
Last night too, I was reading around 1:30 a.m. and the person also said, "Let's make happy memories." This time around, I wasn't taking off that. I was cool. So, happiness are in moments, moments of little things done well, done right, or tackled well, head on, for possibly the desired solution or objective. Unfortunately, this kind of presentation from Rabbi, I think some of us will have to start seeking Rabbi, not him alone. If it was from the book, and you are selling it in a place like Nigeria, you won't sell. It's so abstract.
Yeah, it's very abstract and
disconnect.
Nigerians will tell you anyhow,
it has-
anyhow where we
it has
see
the vintage-
and make we take
social
am.
reality.
Yeah.
it has the vintage appeal.
Yes, if you put this, let me say it, maybe in Sena Climb developed world, somebody will pause to leave what they are doing and digest and read
Yeah.
again.
In fact, you have to go through it more than once
Yes,
to
it was
properly
value.
interpret.
Yes.
Yes, very true. And actually, this reminds me of Steve Jobs when he was about to die. He actually died with a net worth of 7 billion as at the time. He should be one of the richest men then. At the time he was dying, he said the only thing that kept him comfortable on his dying bed were the clicks of the machines that were always with him. He got so used to them that they were looking like somebody was actually having a conversation with him. At that point, he declared that there's actually no difference between a $30,000 wristwatch and a $300 wristwatch because they all say the same time. And for anyone that cares to, go through that and read through what he had said in his last days, should be like a clarion call for everyone. There's this a movie I actually watched. Jennifer Lopez, I guess, she starred in one particular movie where she was told she had about 2 weeks to die. She had cancer or something. So it was said she had only just two weeks to die. In fact, that 2 weeks was the best 2 weeks of her life. She spent it, went around the world, enjoyed what she was afraid of, went for skydiving, all those things that scared her. She went for them. Say, okay, let me just enjoy myself. If I would die, let me die. Just after the vacation and all that, she was told that it was a mistake. It was someone else's result that was given to her. But she felt like that moment was the most blessed moment in her life. And so this is just more like it's poetic at the same time. It's spoken in our faces.
Yes,
profound.
this case I particularly wrote for Lagosians, and many of us who feel that we are not doing well. We should not be preoccupied with the destination of life. We should focus on the moments, because sometimes we are going somewhere and your mind is not even in the journey. Your mind is in the destination. When are we going to get there? When are we going to get there? You walk yourself out. But there's a lot to enjoy in the moment, on the way, sightseeing. There are so many things to stay around, so many things to learn, so many things to observe, and so many things to talk about. But we feel that our life is not complete until we have all the billions. Until in the quest for our excessive focus on the vision, we lose track of the now. We lose track of everything that actually we're supposed to absorb alongside the way, so that at the end of the day we can tell a very good narrative. Take example, there are only few Nigerian millionaires or billionaires that you can ask how they made wealth and they'll be able to explain.
Very true. Very true.
Many of them cannot explain it because they were not in the moment. Their focus and fixation was in the arrival, the destination, and we have to make it big, quick, so that we go and show. We can, just all about that. That is why they did a study not too long ago, and they say almost 90% of Lagosians have high blood pressure. That is because it is given. I mean, why not? Why not? Because people are not ready for the moment, okay? People are not ready to sit down, relax, absorb the jokes of the time, absorb the moment and all that. They are, no. They are about to hit it big time. And as such, they must be on the run at every point in time. But life is not designed that way. Even Jesus said that he that tried to keep his life will lose it. You understand? The one that tried to gather, you will,
Very deep.
you will, yes, it is. You will lose it. You understand? The one that scattered will find it. You understand? So it's just for, because I noticed that my cases all the while have been on the government's not doing this person is not doing that, there's crisis here. This is the week I took JAMB to court. I should be talking about JAMB today, but I said no. I don't want to talk about any JAMB. I want to just sit down, relax, write something that is, easy, talk about life, absorb the nuances of time and the rest of that. And I feel that this is what we must all do and enjoy once in a while. So, Juror Emeka would be here with a case titled Nigeria, a country of false errors, right after this break. Please stay with us.
Thanks for staying tuned. My case, Nigeria, a country of forced errors. Nigeria is a country where the leaders and the people engage so much in a comedy of forced errors. In other words, a land of people who know the right thing to do, but take a different route. When it backfires, the first resort is to find absurd excuses, from justifying to excusing or defending the indefensible. In fact, you hear tales that make you wonder at the reasoning capability of the talkers. Name any kind of absurdity and you must find people to justify it, or they deflect attention. If you complain about power supply, somebody might ask you if it's compulsory to use energy. The current scandal is a gross ineptitude of the Joint Admissions and Matriculations Board, JAMB, in the handling of 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination, UTME. The Education Minister, without investigating, Dr. Tunji Alausa, without investigating, quickly said the resulting mass failure was a manifestation of its anti-malpractice policy. One of his predecessors said something similar. Go on social media and see a mirage of excuses about what amounts to a national fiasco. My verdict, Nigeria, my country. Let us learn to speak the truth. Nobody's above mistakes we hear, but it's also important to do all you can to avoid glitches. During the collation announcement and announcement of results for the 2023 presidential election, the IREV went off. All these things make us a laughing stock. What a country.
Wow. Well, false error is a term used in the game of tennis, where because of your opponent's batsmanship, you are playing catch up. I mean, if you have the ball and you are to serve and you still miss it, it's now an unforced error. So that application here, it's a direct breaking of our consciousness or conscience. I read a book, I think it's common, 1 week, 1 trouble.
Yes.
And the brown character, Wilson Tago, is always in one of the Wahala he was in, one of the charges, can the dead offend?
By sequence.
Yeah,
the dead can. Yes. I remember, I heard there was a pope who died, and his corpse was exhumed. He was tried and flogged.
Well, anyway,
Very perfect.
on this case, apart from
So the dead can really offend.
apart from the practical, in this case, there are many good things like Barrister Aufili said in his case of happiness. He wants to stay away from Nigerian, but it's all over us. It's almost what we cannot do without.
Yes.
There are many lovely opportunities. Look at even the beginning case of armed forest. It's what is in the purview of governors. They waited till the president waited it. And we don't know how effective it will be. The destiny of children going for jam on the threshold of chasing their future dream. See the handling.
No, you know why they waited for the president? So that money will accompany it.
Okay.
There will be a special allocation from the federal
And
government
then
for
the
ferals.
president allocated centrally would dictate how it will go. And
Yeah.
the,
Mess up everything.
The efficacy will be lost.
Will be lost.
This is calling on all of us as Nigerians. In your rooms, on your streets, just do things right by doing the right things.
It is the
And then it
aggregation.
trickles to the government.
Yeah, it is the aggregation of rights that builds a nation.
Yeah.
Okay, so look at the case of JAM, for example. When we started complaining, the public outcry, the JAM DG came out and said that no, that they did what they are supposed to do, that this is the outcome. That is the standard and state of the students' capacity to perform. And no, we went off the hook and said no, threats everywhere, public outcry everywhere. He just made a decision yesterday, called his team together and said, let's do a review, perhaps, and just in 2-3 hours they are going to dig deep into the causes and effects of that outcome. They stumbled on a revelation. And he called a press conference and started crying. But earlier on, we said, go and look at this. Because last year's JAM, if you benchmark it with this year's one, you cannot agree with the outcome
At all.
Because last year and this year, nothing has changed that has obviated our intellection or the intellection of our children that will make them to have this kind of outcome. If you did not take them through stress, and if you don't have technical glitch and all those things, the outcome cannot be this. There's a boy that did a video yesterday that is scored over 276 last year. And now he scored 155. He told the board that I cannot score 155.
Yes.
You understand? He had a friend who, during he was sick on the day of the exam, did not attend the exam. The boy had 300.
Yes, I heard that.
So, I mean, he said,
That's a gift.
so at the end of the day, we said, he went back. Because if there were no public outcry, and if we didn't go to court and some other person didn't threaten, for example, this thing will go like this, okay? But look at the benefit of speaking out. Look at the benefit of being a watchdog in society. It has excavated a revelation that, we we're only crying that this couldn't have been, and see where we are today. Now, you compare it with the technical glitch of INEC and the JAM. The difference now is what I want to accentuate. JAM is coming out to make promises. We, in the lawsuit we filed, we're asking JAM to set aside the exam, set it aside, conduct a fresh one. One thing JAM cannot tell me is that they don't have money. They can't tell me that. They can't tell Nigerians that they're generating billions for federal government.
Which they have declared.
They are not
Every year.
They are not even a revenue generation body.
Good.
So what they're even doing is so I mean, what I'm saying is that they have enough money. Set aside this exam and conduct a fresh one. That's one. Now they're saying that they've reviewed it. It affected a particular region. They're going to go and reprint their photo card and they're going to sit for the exam again. But that's not enough because you are still going to find pockets of here and there. Because this review they did was they hurried, they just rushed. You understand? There are still glitches here and there that must be checked. And the situations under which you took the children through, so the issue. Now the comparison. JAM is trying to fix the mistakes. But for INEC made it a permanent mistake.
No remorse.
No remorse. Announced the result in the midnight, in the early hours of the morning. And the outcome of that result is what we are living with today. And we're living below our capacity, our earnings, our whatsoever. Our life have never remained the same since the day that result was announced in date. That is why it is important. When you make a mistake, you must go back to the drawing board and correct that mistake, or set aside that whole result and do a fresh one. If JAMB do not set aside that result, so many people will still be complaining years from now.
From other regions.
Just like we're all complaining about Tinubu till today. So JAMB must do something.
Very true. What comes to mind is how effective nature is awesome. It has a way of balancing itself at all times, whenever it finds opportunity. What's happening to JAMB now reminds me of Mesoma, the young lady from Anambra, that of course falsified her results. I remember what JAMB did. This same man, Oloyede, barred this young girl from ever sitting for exams for the next 5 years. Very, very dreadful way of going about that particular. Now the question is, will this same man equally allow himself go through the same draconian measure he allowed for Mesoma? Because what goes around should come around. If he had allowed that happen to that young lady, he should equally allow it come to.
No, he's crying. He's crying.
Mesoma should just have
cried. Should have cried and
allow
her to sit for.
We're not old enough.
Yes, so what wasn't as good as that of.
This one is crying. He's crying for the optics. So it's for the optics.
I've got just like Ponde now. The NDCMD that collapsed.
When he discovered that the allegations were overwhelming and there was no way out, he just lifted.
But surprisingly, at the same time, funnily, University of Ilorin, where he was, I think he was the VP. Said he was a great man. He did well. Now, other universities from the southwest might follow suit and equally write letters in defense of this man.
But it's going to backfire because like the analogy you gave with the tennis game. Ours is that we deliberately don't even want to do the right thing. We always think in terms of is either black or white. Now the allegations, and I'm happy that about the suit, and then the freedom of information requests that have been made. Because there's an allegation that in Lagos, that those problems came up in 3 local governments, Ojo, Amu, Odofin, and one other local government, that are heavily populated by Igbos. That's an allegation that's still hanging. And then look at the Southeast. I mean, people should be politically sensitive when they do things. Because when people now, when the Southeasters cried marginalization, you say it's not justified. Well, look at your actions. Your actions tend to reinforce that notion. So the thing is that, like, the case said, Nigerians should learn to speak the truth. The way those in public office, the way they multiply lies, is as if when they hold meetings, Federal Executive Council meetings and other meetings, it's just how to manufacture lies.
But the way the entire story sloped into ethnic issues is one that's very surprising to me. I've been looking at it since morning, and somebody just came up with this narrative that it was targeted at. Are we still here?
But you know what led to it? Some people came up on X to say that the head of the ICT,
is an
Igbo man, Mr. Fabian Okoro. So he should be held responsible. But people now came back to say it was one Mrs. B. Usman, a Yoruba woman who is the head of ICT. So the ethnic thing now took off.
And her
from there.
Is not on the website.
It's not on the website. The photos of other officers of JAMB are on the website, but her photos. So you see, that is why when I talk about these false errors, because there are so many mischief makers everywhere.
But why is it that this lack of trust? Because
That is it.
I don't want to believe this ethnic thing that that somebody will go and because of ethnicity in jam for children will go and mix. I find it very difficult to believe.
It's really absurd.
I mean,
But if care is not taken, you will find out that with this
who will be doing that? So I think this is really this is shocking, really.
It's shocking. Well, the conversation continues. When we return, Juror Henry Igwebuike will be here with his case titled Gowon, Villain or Hero. Do stay tuned.
Thank you so very much for being here. My case, Gowon, villain or hero. General Yakubu Gowon recently on an interview said that the 1966, 1983 and annulment of the 1993 elections were truly unnecessary. He stated that several military incursions and stay in office deeply affected the strength of democracy. The catch question on the lips of everyone remains, is General Yakubu Gowon stating the obvious in regret of his many involvements. Initially, Gowon promised a return to civilian rule by 1976. However, on October 1, 1974, he announced an indefinite postponement of this transition, citing the need to address corruption and inflation. This decision led to widespread dissatisfaction among Nigerians who had anticipated a restoration of democratic governance. Secondly, Gowon's regime centralized authority, diminishing the autonomy of regional governments, although he partially lifted the ban on political activities in 1972 to discuss a new constitution. The subsequent debates were curtailed and political dissent was suppressed. This centralization hindered the development of democratic institutions and processes. The period under General Yakubu Gowon saw an oil boom, resulting in increased national revenue. However, the administration faced allegations of widespread corruption and mismanagement of resources. The culmination of these issues led to Gowon's ousting in a bloodless coup on July 29, 1975, while he was attending the Organization of African Unity Summit. His removal reflected the military's dissatisfaction with his leadership and the public's desire for a return to democratic governance. My verdict: General Yakubu Gowon, who led Nigeria from 1966 to 1975, played a significant role in the interruption of democratic governance during his tenure. His administration, though marked by efforts to maintain national unity, exhibited several actions that contributed to the erosion of democratic principle. Is Gowon a villain or a hero?
Well, it's an enigma in this case, and we don't know if these are prelude to him writing his own book writing towards the old age is seeming to.
Do you think he will ever bring out a book?
But I think that there are objective things the general can do. We should be among those who speak publicly, vehemently, against the senseless killings of people in Plateau State. He should speak directly, speak at it. He himself, Senator George Akume, Gabriel Suswam, if you are from a state where they kill, anyhow, be seen to stand in public and condemn the killing, irrespective of your party affiliations or aspiration. Yakubu Gowon, I think he became president and head of states in 1966 in August. And at the time he was 31. 9 years later, at 40, he was ousted. And it's 49 years since then. I cannot put my finger on what the general gentleman has been doing. But for 49 years, of course, he has been envoy, especially.
He has been praying.
And
Nigeria prays.
And I think Nigeria has gone around the circle where some of these people should speak truths that can liberate the country.
But what he's doing now does not amount to truth that can liberate the country, because he is a beneficiary of this military incursion, and he is coming out to say that it was unnecessary, that the long stay of military was unnecessary, whereas he was there for a very long time.
9 years.
9 years.
A long time, 9 years, even when he made a projection when the country would return to democracy. He postponed it, okay, and then did all whatnot. So coming to tell us today that his sojourn for 9 years was unnecessary is an irony. It's an irony because is it that he's coming to his senses now, or is it that he's regretting his actions? I mean, we're not very clear on what it is, but the long stay was as a result of his own autocratic decision to refuse Nigeria to return to democracy. So those years he expended actually was what drew Nigeria backward, okay? And at that time, when Nigeria had the oil boom and all that, when some Nigerians were out of school, those ones who were out of school at that time are the ones that are the insurgents today, or the ones leading or managing or organizing the insurgency today, okay? So whatever Nigeria is today is as a result of the decisions they took at that time they made. Wrong decisions, undemocratic decisions, and even when we had the oil boom, Nigeria, they didn't know what to do with the resources, they didn't know what to do with the money and all that, and it drew Nigeria backward. So I don't know what to make out of his utterances in this case, because it's neither here nor there. Is he saying this now as a repentant? Is he now a Democrat, or is he saying it as a repentant? What do you call them now? These military people, this military despot, or what do you call it? Is it what exactly is it? What should we do now with this thing he's telling us?
No, the thing is, I say go on. I think he loves to engage in revisionism, in dubious revisionism. Gowon became head of state, after the killing of General Agironsi and Colonel Adekunle Faji. Now, one of the reasons they gave was that Ironsi, that he centralized leadership with Decree 34 of 1966. Now, the question, any day I meet Gowon, one question I want to ask him is that you ousted Ironsi on the basis of that decree. Why didn't you restore the regions? You waited to consolidate for 1 year, then the following year, after the Republic of Biafra was declared, on May 30, 1967, you now created 12 states. Why didn't you return power to the regions? You see why I say he's engaging in a strange revision of history. And then, when he's saying the 1966 coup was not necessary, is he trying to pretend about the reasons given by Nzogu in his broadcast about why they struck? Even Major Ademoega in his book, Why We Struck, is he trying to now say that those reasons were not valid? Because some people have challenged Gowon. Why was there jubilation in some parts of the north when the news came out that the Sadana had been killed? Why? People have asked questions. 1967, the coup was about Araba, separate Nigeria, declare northern Nigeria, until the British High Commissioner at that time, I think, advised them not to go that route, that instead they should talk about Nigeria. Because for some hours after the coup, I understand that Ikeja cantonment, that the flag of Araba, the secessionist flag, was flying at Ikeja cantonment for some hours until Britain advised them, no, don't go that way. Fly the Nigerian flag, take over Nigeria. And then they changed their minds. The third question I would like to ask Gowon is, the Aburi Accord why did he not work on implementing the Aburi Accord? He's saying that those coup plots were not necessary. Okay, let's say 1966 was not necessary. Let's say their own counter coup was not necessary. But why did he not implement the Aburi Accord, which actually led to the other coups? Because the Aburi Accord was essentially about restore power to the regions. Because each region had its own template for development. And that is what we are facing today. The crisis of state creation was caused by Gowon. And that is the crisis we are facing in Nigeria today. The regions found their balance. Because all that would have happened. Look at the Midwest. Brilliant. It was a brilliant move, even though it was said to have been done to antagonize Awolowo, who was, I think, in prison at that time. But by excising the Midwest from the Western region, it solved a lot of problems that could have arisen. In fact, maybe that's where the war could have even started earlier. If you remember 1967, when Major Isaac Adaka Boro, led that 7 day, was it 7 day or 12 day, that 12-day resistance, it was Colonel Chukwu Emeka Madunagu who put it down. And that's one of the reasons why those riverine people in Niger Delta, that's one of the things they have against the Southeast. But these things are not voiced. And that's one of the reasons why they actually sided with the federal troops when they went through, when they went through the sea,
The Cameroonian border.
Yes. So that has remained the major problem. Go and look at the demands, the agreement, the Aburi Accord. We like to engage in just running around issues. The Aburi Accord remains.
And the reason for the state creation was not tenable
at all. Because you said to break the Biafra. But even at that, you have even created more problems.
More problem was created. That's what I'm saying.
Because the regions, look at Midwest. All you needed to do was create another Midwest in the central, in the middle belt. If another Midwest had been created in the middle belt, you called it middle belt, I'm telling you, Nigeria wouldn't be in this crisis today. Because the Christian minorities
would have balanced.
It would have balanced. They would have found their own. And that's why you had Joseph Tucker and the rest of them. That's why they kept fighting and fighting and fighting. And it is still the situation today. Because if you look at it, the people who even made it impossible to attain the Aburi Accord are the ones now fighting for recognition. The Fulanis. They are the ones now talking of, let's have a Fulani Federation. The Hausas are the ones now saying, we have been marginalized. We have been neglected. You can see, look at Gowon's place. Pangshin, in Plateau State. Look at Benue. Look at all that is going on. Why? You sold a dog. Is that how they say? You sold a dog and bought a monkey. And at the end of the day, it was a four-legged animal. So I think, this case is very important. And we need to come back to it from time to time.
Time to time.
Because
very historical.
Because they think by removing history from the curriculum that Nigerians will not ask questions. But Nigerians are asking questions today. What really led to the civil war? The refusal to implement the Aburi Accord. Then if you now say, okay, that the annulment of June 12 was not necessary, but go on. You said the other time that you had never belonged to a political party. But it's not true because you engaged, you ran for president now in your ward in Kaduna. Now, why didn't you speak up when Babangida annulled the election? We never had Gowon's voice. When Abacha played all the games he did, we never had Gowon's voice. Why did he keep quiet? Why is he talking now? Abiola is dead more than 30 years. And he's now saying that was not necessary.
What do we make of what he's saying now?
To me, I think we should ask him questions. Go on. We should list all these things. What did you do about these issues? Because is this answer, but he won't answer. He won't answer because he will still look for another one. So like Juror Henry said, that is it a prelude to a book? But You see, if you put together things he has said in the last 40 years, you can actually make a book. You just take his quotes here and there. Take his quotes, take the things he has said, including the things he said under Nigeria Press. A brilliant author or a group of authors can actually make a book.
Very well.
Because truly, Nigerians will be waiting to read that book, because
Ojukwu never wrote.
He didn't write anything, you know. So we sincerely hope that that Yakubu Gowon should.
Because I'm involved, though. He didn't write anything.
Not him. There are some biographies to it.
No, we're talking about Ojukwu. No, that's a third party narration. We're talking about Ojukwu himself.
The first person narrative.
Exactly. And I think we should equally have a first person narrative from Yakubu Gowon. He shouldn't go until he writes a book. And I think it's very important that we all get to read that particular book, because history remains and would continue to be with us. But when we understand it better, I think we would make peace with one another. That's a wrap on this session of The Middlemen. Keep the conversation going on all social media platforms when you visit us at Enterprise TV7, and let your voice count. Until next time, stay informed, stay safe, and have yourself a splendid time. Bye-bye from us.
The Enterprise. I am Olajumoke James, and my guest today is a devout Christian, a devout advocate of a better life for persons living with disabilities, and a devout visionary. We say a lot of devout. Christiana Kehinde Akirimade was not born visually impaired, but her story is a classic case of the good fortune that comes to those who refuse to be defined by the circumstances life throws at them. Christiana is the founder of Hope Builders for the Physically Challenged Foundation, Divine Christian Creativity, and the Association of Exceptional Entrepreneurs with Special Needs. All these were birthed after her life took a trajectory she hadn't seen coming. Perhaps it's a life now best captured by the saying that a great vision triumphs over the finest sight. You're welcome to the Enterprise. Christiana Kehinde Akirimade, PhD.
Well, thank you so much.
I needed to mention the PhD so they know that your own doctorate is not honorary. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, I'm fine, I'm good.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So I was saying to you behind cameras that the Enterprise is about the craft, the trade of successful individuals that we interview. What makes you tick, you know, the things that people would ordinarily not ask you, right, about your life. And the fact that you weren't born visually impaired, but you went ahead, you know, to get your OND, HND from Lagos State Polytechnic, went to do an MBA, went ahead to do a PhD, you know.
Honorary.
Right? You know, while people who can see and are not visually impaired have all sorts of excuses. What drives you?
Well, thank you so much for that question. Initially, when I lost my sight, I thought there was no more hope. I thought all dreams, my career had gone down the drain. So at a certain stage, I was at home for good 5 years, ashamed of myself that, Christiana Kehinde has turned to a blind woman. I thought that was the end. My children too were ashamed of me. Whenever visitors are coming, they say, "Mommy, go inside, Mommy, go inside, visitors are coming." Or rather, I would tell them if any visitor is coming to see us, I'll just tell them I'm in. Don't tell anybody I'm out. Don't tell anybody that I'm in. I'll just hide myself. So at a certain stage, I always listened to radio stations where I had a program, and I discovered that was a school for the blind. I was thinking when I get to that school that I'll receive my sight back. But funny for me, unfortunately for me, when I go to that school, at Kappa, the blind school at Kappa Oshodi, that was where I was reinstated, I was transformed, I was rehabilitated, and I discovered I can still achieve my goals.
So you lost your sight in 2010 and graduated in 2015. That's such a feat, right? What is it that would encourage somebody who has lost hope, like you did? Somebody whose family even would, want to hide away from the society. What would encourage you to do it that quickly? Because, I mean, if you're depressed for losing your sight, I would imagine that one would be depressed for quite a while.
Yes.
But you got over it quick enough for you to also graduate within 5 years of losing your sight.
It wasn't easy anyway. Within that period that I lost my sight, within that 5 years, I've gone to so many places, so many countries, thinking I will regain my sight. I was about going to India, and when I discovered the money I had enough was not, the money I had at hand was not enough. I sold my properties, sold landed properties, sold my cars, just looking for my eyes that no, I can't just take it. But at the same time, after I've lost everything, I sat down. I was not looking way forward. As I've said earlier, until I listened to radio station, I said, okay, let me go to the school. I went there to meet the inquiry, and I spent a year there. But when I was in the school, I discovered I could make it. Immediately I got to the school, not quite 2 or 3 weeks, I was made the captain of my hostel. And there I met some people that used 2 years. At the same time, when visitors are coming, they will come and call me. Sister Akirimari, come and attend to our visitors and appreciate them. I will now be looking at myself. What is in me that they are just calling me for everything? I joined the music class, every of their program at the blind school I joined. And the funnily enough, nobody sent me there. When I wanted to go, they are telling me, what do you want to achieve again? Blind school. Do you think you can still cope going back to school? What eyes do you want to see with go? So I was discouraged, but I just determined within myself that I will even go there. Let me see what will happen in that school. And I discovered that when I was there, all their programs, they always make me the head of the captain, make me captain, make me, there was a program, a special program they always have, Mabel. My story was used, and I said, yes, I think I can make a living out of my visual impairments.
Nice. So I have an insatiable quest for knowledge myself, right? Hoping to eventually get my PhD done. But for somebody who's visually impaired, right? You went on to do a PhD in entrepreneurship and humanity, right? But your master's degree from Lagos Business School is in social management.
No, master's degree from University of Calabar.
Okay.
I have a certificate in Lagos
Certificate in
Business.
social management from
Yes.
the Lagos Business School.
Yes.
What's social management?
Well, social management in terms of humanitarian, in terms of how to go in as an entrepreneur and how to cope with others, maybe less privileged, maybe NGOs, and how to serve as humanitarian to others. So when I got there, when I went to the Lagos Business School, initially I was not immediately admitted, but during the interview, when I was interviewed, when I saw what I was saying, I immediately said, Madam, congratulations, you've been admitted at that interview day. So I was the only visually impaired person. At the day of our graduation, during the class, I was honored for being one of the most inspiring students in the class. And when we are graduating, I was honored as if I was the first lady. When I was called to the podium, they wanted to give me my certificate. Everybody stood until I got back to my seat. Everybody sat. I was not telling myself, what kind of honor is this? As if I was the first lady. So I just love reading. And I love inspiring others that thought their disability is a weakness. Rather, it should be a strength for them. Because my disability is a strength for me to move ahead.
So, Dr. Akirimade, you're called the champion of empowerment and inclusion, right? For
Yes.
somebody who has a physical disability
Yes.
and has lost hope like you did,
Yes.
what encouragement do you have for them to pick themselves up again?
They should immediately go for rehabilitation. There was a case that was brought to me yesterday night about a man of 46 years that has lost his sight 10 years ago and was indoor. I said, no problem. After this program, I'll go there and visit him and tell him that you are losing. Come out of your shame. Come out of that disability. There's still life. After disability, I want to tell you, it's very fine. I'm enjoying myself. There is still life after disability.
Is that because you live in Lagos? Because I know that there are laws for, public buildings. You must have.
I don't have public building, no.
No, there are laws in Lagos. If I'm right, in Nigeria for accessibility for people with living with disabilities. So you must have an entrance for people living with disabilities.
Yes.
So I'm asking, is your life fine just because you live in Lagos? You were born in Lagos and raised in Lagos.
Yes, married in Lagos.
Does that make a difference in your life?
Well, I think that makes a difference in my life. It has added to my impact.
Okay.
Because like when you want to board a bus, BRT, you don't even need to pay. You just go straight to the door.
Oh wow.
You don't need to queue. You just go straight to the door. A go for show. I just got in my entrance. Immediately they see my guy came. Madam, go in. And when I get to the bank, when other people queue, I don't queue. I'll just go straight to the counter. And I'm always given that privilege. Well, even if I get in late after they've closed, they'll say, Madam is downstairs, please let us give her that privilege. So I discovered there are a lot of privileges there.
You almost make it sound nice.
Yes.
Okay.
I enjoy that.
Going into your background,
Okay.
once you became visually impaired,
God.
and particularly your children, like you mentioned, where they found it hard, to accept your new reality. Your family life, how did it change? And how is it now?
As a banker before, I have 18 years banking experience. So it was after I left the banking industry, I was driving. I discovered that I was just having a frequent accident. And I always call myself, because I love driving, it's an hobby for me. I always call myself international driver. I just discovered I was just having frequent accident, especially with this keke napep and all these Okada riders. So there was a day one of them just said, Madam, better go and get a driver if you don't know how to drive. I felt ashamed. So I was challenged. I said, what could have happened to me? I called my optician, though I was using the glasses then.
Okay.
That you should just increase the capacity
of your
glasses.
lenses.
That one increase it. After 2 weeks, it's reduced again. I didn't even tell him. I just drove down to the general hospital myself. I said, I need to check my eyes. Lo and behold, I don't know, I've lost my left eye.
Wow.
That was how it started. Then they said, Madam, don't drive again. And then I said, what can I do? Madam, don't. I said, so you mean I should not drive again? I said, it's like, I am a pareo. What will I do? I was given eye drops. After frequent going to the hospital, I was told that I'll have to go for a surgery. I said, no problem, I prepared. I bought all what he needs. 2 days to the time, I just went to the general hospital just to reminded that 2 days to this time I'll be coming. And I said, I should not come with the doctors on strike. I said, what should I do? She just said I should keep on using my eye drops and say immediately the doctors are back, I should come back. So immediately I heard that the doctors have resumed their duties. I went back to the general hospital. They did another final test before I could go in for surgery. And I was told I've lost my second eye.
How did your husband take the news?
I'm a single mother.
Is that conclusion of my question? Meaning that he quickly carried his bags. No,
Before then, He
Okay.
has left me and the children.
Okay.
So I was just battling with the marriage, myself and the children. So after he had left, I was just battling with my eyes and the children. And I was told that I've lost my second eye. And I said, what should I do? My dad, don't drive again. Just be using eye drops. And I said, shit, is that the end? The doctors will not say, madam, just, maybe you have husband. I said, no. They said, what about children? I said, you have family. I said, just go and continue eating and please go and rest. That was the advice of the doctor.
Family is everything. Okay, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we will discuss the Hope Builders Foundation and many other activities that Christiana enjoys to engage in. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. The Enterprise. You're welcome back to the Enterprise, and I have been discussing with Christiana Kehinde Akirimade, PhD, who was recognized for her exceptional contribution to entrepreneurship development in the year 2021 and was awarded by the Lagos State Ministry of Wealth Creation and Employment. Her achievement extends to the Lagos Business School, where she received an award for excellence for her outstanding contributions. She's won numerous local and international awards in recognition of her unparalleled commitment to humanity. In fact, you were recognized again by federal government. You were saying that, is it Tinubu? Tell us about that.
Well, just due to my impacts as a PWD, people with disabilities, as entrepreneurs, I've brought a lot of people up as an entrepreneur, thousands of people, even less privileged in my community, developing their own vocational training, IT skills development, so that they can have a less dependency on people, so that they too can be financially independent and self-reliance in their different fields, and be outstanding in their careers. So, due to my impact, the Ministry of Lagos State Wealth Creation and Employment gave me an award due to my impact as entrepreneurs and people that...
I'm talking about the current recognition by the federal government.
Okay. I was just some days ago. They brought a letter for me from Abuja. When they called me that I had a letter from Abuja, I said, is it the presidency? They said, no, you've just been given a letter as a nomination or merit award.
Congratulations. You heard it first on the Enterprise.
Thanks so much.
Congratulations. And how does that make you feel? I know that everybody feels honored, by recognitions and awards. We feel elated that, all my hard work is being recognized, is being rewarded, But for you in particular, somebody living with disabilities, how does it make you feel?
I was happy, but at the same time, I was still telling myself, don't be happy, you've not really done what you wanted to.
What do you want to do, Gongo?
Because
after PhD, what else? After PhD,
I still want to impact.
Okay.
I still want to recognize, not only in this country, outside the country. I still want to recognize outside the country, at the European countries, Africa. I want them to know that, yes, there is somebody, Christiana Kehinde Akirimade, that is really imparting knowledge into people's lives, transforming their lives, rehabilitating their lives, and restating their lives.
Okay.
Back to life.
Let's talk about your foundation, Hope Builders for the Physically Challenged
Foundation.
Yeah. How did you come up with the idea for that?
Well,
did you suffer as somebody who was visually impaired? I'm not talking about your family now. I'm talking about the larger society.
Okay.
To the extent that you realize that people who have physical disabilities need help.
We need help. At times we don't like telling us the stories, the bad stories. I like telling people the good stories about it. But at the back door, at times I weep.
You still weep now?
Yes, at times.
Wow.
Why? Well, I'm trying to read something. I'm trying to get over things, and I couldn't do it. I thought that was the day something fell off from me, and I was looking for it. I couldn't get somebody nearby me. I will not say, do I need to go and call on phone again? That somebody should come to my apartment to come and look for this thing. Then I said, what should I do? And I said, okay, go and get a broom. And I started sweeping until I saw that thing. But at that particular period, it might not be okay. There are times at the society, it happens everywhere. They look down on you. At times when I want to talk, who is she? At times they don't like inviting me to a party. What does she want to see there? But me, I like to say no. Even if I cannot see, I can still hear. And from then, I'll picture what is happening in my environment. But not everybody wants to go out with you. Not everybody wants to associate with you. Unless they know that you are really imparting. If not, nobody wants to look. Everybody wants to look down people with disabilities. That's why the advocacy started that no, there must be inclusion.
And the International Women's Day 2024 was talking about inclusion.
Yes.
Inclusion, you know. Your first degree from Laspotech is in accounting, but you like to be called deaconess.
Yes. No, as a Christian.
I'm a Christian too.
I love that.
So what's the spiritual connotation for you? Again, you know, I don't know about religion in Nigeria. We're very religious on the surface, you know. And religion really ought to be personal, where you just adhere to the tenets of your religion, be kind, loving, you know, to one another. But we're the most corrupt, you know, we're the most unfaithful, particularly women, you know, well, second most unfaithful in the world, you know, things like that. But anyway, coming back to you, as an accountant, why is deaconess more honorary for you than your 18 years in the banking industry?
Well, the deaconess, initially, when I lost my sight, when I was in the banking industry, I was not born again. No.
Yeah.
When I lost my sight, you know.
When you were counting money.
I was not born again. So, you know, when it got to a situation like this, I will be praying, God, let me receive my sight.
Yeah.
God, I want to see. God, I want to see. You know, my spiritual attachment to God quite different. Then my involvement, my impact in the church, my spiritual knowledge differs. Why? Because I was even looking for my sight. But a particular time when I discovered I couldn't see, but in other ways, God is really showing mercy on me. At certain times, I said, I cannot see, but I'm happy. In my career, I'm moving forward. And at the same time, I'm even imparting to people that can see. In my church, a lot of people do come to me. And even in my environment, despite my disability, that they always come to me for help. I remember a widow woman. I was coming from a particular place. So I was alighting in a bus stop. So the woman never knew I was blind. She came to me for help. I just gave her the leftover change the conductor gave me. When she was there, I beckoned on her, Madam, can you please assist me to the other side? She said, Shineke God, oh. I said, what happened? Take your money. I don't know you are blind. I said, no.
Yeah.
You wish to become a beggar. You can see. Is it because you are a widow? She don't say, as if you are now a widow, and so therefore, does that give you the mandate because you are a widow, you should become a beggar? In as much as I'm blind, I don't take it that I should become a beggar. I now have to talk to her. I brought her to my place, and I taught her how to make money. She was one of my vocational students. She spent 3 months. She's now back at Akwa Ibom.
Nice.
So nearly every year she sends something to me, and she has been evangelizing that it was a blind person that imparted and changed her life.
So your biggest achievement in life is not your PhD?
No.
It's not your master's in social management?
No.
It's not accounting and 18 years
At
banking?
at all.
It is helping other people.
Yes. Imparting to their lives.
Wow.
Making them to see a new vision. making them to realize that they can still make it in life, and they can even outstand their mates in wherever fields they are.
Fantastic. Okay, we'll take another quick break. When we come back, we will find out what makes Christiana tick, the things that she enjoys to do in her quiet time. Please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break. The Enterprise. Welcome back to the Enterprise, and this edition we're talking to a very special guest, somebody who has abilities in her disability, PhD, doctorate,
And a dickness.
okay, so Christiana Kende Akirimadi just loves to be called a deaconess for whatever reasons. And this segment, we're going to talk about the things that you enjoy to do in your quiet time. You do handcrafts.
Yes. And woven
Hand-woven.
products,
Okay?
which is slippers, bags, sandals, belts, anything that goes with creativity. That's what I do.
Are they selling well?
Yes, we have our target audience are people that are very crazy, passionate about hand-woven products. And some people they are crazy about some particular products. So that's what I made.
Okay, so what do you do in your quiet time aside from handcrafts? I can imagine that gives you pleasure and makes you relax. Do you love music?
I love music and I love praying at my quiet time.
You love praying?
Yes.
Deaconess. Yes, we know that you love your spirituality and God is with all of us.
Yes. But God is with me in a special way.
Tell us how.
Going out without anybody, and I travel when my two boys are in the university.
I should agree to that quickly before you move on. My producer was in absolute shock that you came to ask you by yourself. So yes,
so I travel down to Ilorin myself.
Wow.
When my first son is in the University of Ilorin, when my second son is at Ibadan, University of Ibadan. I was there. I didn't tell him I would call me. I just want to check on him. I was at the door, the entrance door, and I called, "Where are you?" Now say I just stay. I said, "Have you forgotten the number?" She said, "Mommy, what do you want to use with mine? Just tell me your hostel number. I just want to send somebody to come and give you gift." She now quickly said, "Mommy, my hostel number is so. Can you come? I said, "Okay, no problem." I just somebody going, "Can you please take me to so all?" Took me there, took me to his room. I knocked at the door and I called him. "Hello, where are you?" "Mommy, I'm in my room." "Are you sure?" "Okay, somebody's coming in to give you gift." I just opened the door. "Mommy, wow, what do you want?" I said, "I'm here to check on you." "Mommy, you and who?" I said, "Myself and God." So he was surprised, and that was what I did to my son when he was at Ilorin.
So God goes with you.
Yes.
Are your children proud of you now?
They're very, very proud of me. My first son is an engineer, so proud of me, and likewise my son.
So you are a proud mother also.
I'm a proud
that
mother.
They're doing well. Well, I mean, one ought to be grateful to God for that, because mothers who have their sites, some of them do not have children who are doing as well as your children are. So you must be a proud mother. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
So what else do you do in your quiet time aside from praying?
At times I will just sit down and think about what can I do that can impart to others. And with myself and my twin sister, I will just call her. In your area, what are they doing there? Do you have any people? They have individuals that are living with disability there. I just feel like imparting to them. Maybe somebody just give me money. So what can I do? Even the widows, the less privileged, okay, let me buy a bag of rice. Let me just give it to them. So even my church, so my twin sister say, I have this too, I have that too, I have people that are less privileged. Okay, just assist me. And anytime I'm assisting people, I just don't know, that joy just comes out in my mind. I feel so excited that me, I for you. So I can impart to people that can see it's just God. So most of the time I just sit down thinking, what can I do that can make a difference in my life?
Okay, we're going to round up now. Your final word to people not just people living with disability, all of us need help. I was going to mention to you quickly that the one that you're crying, that you're looking for something, those of us besides, we also cry. Everybody
you can still see it.
Life happens to all of us, you know.
Yes.
I mean, the way they give you special privileges just because you cannot see. Some of us may have to stand in the sun for hours, you know. For instance, parking at malls, you know, there's special parking.
Yes, for
people living with this. So, in closing, we'd like to know the difference in vision versus sight, because you definitely have vision for yourself. I mean, educating two young men, you know, through school, being a single mom and being visually impaired. There are people who have their sights and do not have vision for their lives. There are people who would, like the lady who's now doing business and sending you something, before she met you, she thought she had an excuse to beg.
For being a widow.
When she now met a visually impaired person who is not begging,
her life changed now.
She realized that no, I have no excuses. You know, so give us that one tip, you know, to having vision, as opposed to those of us who just have sight without vision.
I believe every human being should have a vision. Why? So you can't just say what can happen in the future. Like the vision I had then was, I want to become a lecturer. That was my vision then. But when the side challenges came, I thought that was the end. But by the time I was rehabilitated, I discovered I can still make up with my career. So vision has nothing to do with your disabilities. It's only when you want to take your disability as a weakness or as an excuse.
And if you are looking for an excuse, you will find.
And if you are looking for an excuse, you will find.
Yeah, my father died when I was young.
My father died when I was young. That one is not an excuse.
My husband left me. My children abandoned me. There are always excuses.
So at times, all these should not give us an excuse. And when we have a problem, in any way, we should always look for way forward. I look for a way forward. God helped me. In a real language, I'm asking you, if you don't try to carry your load, nobody will carry. Even God, as we are saying, God wants a sharp person. God wants an intelligent person. God will not deal with a drug, someone that cannot think very well. By the time you are doing that, God, when you pray, God will assist. So I want to tell every other person, we're having a program June 27, which is International Day for SME, MMSME. So we have International Day, MMSME Day with Disability, June 27 in Obidas for Physically Challenged Foundation. So I'm inviting you all to come and see our potentials, how we unlock our potentials, our talent, our skills, how we develop our community, and how we contribute to the GDP of the economy.
Thank you very much, Christiana Kendi Akirimade, PhD, Dr. Akirimade, for coming on The Enterprise. We have learned so much from you.
Thank you for having me.
Carry your load. Deaconess also, because I know that you like to be called.
Yeah, thank you, Jumoke.
Before you carry your load, before somebody helps you to carry your load, you must bend down to carry it yourself. That's what she said. So what I picked from this conversation is carry your load, have vision, not just having sight. And regardless of what life throws at you, there's always a way
out
on the other side.
Yes.
It was an honor having this conversation with you. We thank you very much once again for coming to the Enterprise TV today.
Thank you.
It has been the Enterprise, and we hope to see you on the next episode. Thank you very much for watching. Do not forget to follow all of our social media handles at the Enterprise TV 7. We'll see you next time. Stay blessed.
Enterprise TV, a tradition of truth.
Hello, folks. I make you welcome to Politics Around the World right here on Enterprise Television. My name is Henry Igwebuike, and of course, we'll be letting you in on everything happening around the world. Of course, starting from Africa and crisscrossing around.